Yes, I'm going to ask about bus services. Across your business plan period, there will be a reduction in bus services in inner London with the aim of increasing outer London bus services, but in total a reduction in kilometres. Are you running enough buses to accommodate the needs of Londoners?
We are. I'll let the Commissioner do the detail, but just to give you a context, in central London we've seen bus usage reduced by 12% in the recent past. The good news over the last year is the reduction in bus passengers usage is about 0.7%. Across the country it's 3-4%. So you're not seeing in London what you're seeing across the country, which is routes not simply being reduced, the frequency, but being stopped. We've still kept our promises around concessionary fares. And what we're doing in relation to the consultation is of the 675 routes we have across the city, we're consulting on 33. We're looking carefully at the responses to those consultation responses, hoping to report back quite shortly. We also are keen to increase the availability of buses in outer London. In outer London, there are a few alternatives. In central London, you've got rail, you've got walking, you've got cycling, and other options which are quite useful. That's one of the explanations for the reduction. But it's really important that in those parts of our city where there isn't good public transport, we get good public transport. The ambition is to get to 80% by 2041 of those either walking, cycling, or using public transport. And I'm confident we're doing that. And the Commissioner understands the brief he's been given, which is what we don't want to see is queues of buses in Kingsway, in London Bridge, in Park Lane, in Oxford Street. What I want to do is see those buses freed up to be used elsewhere across London.
So I think just to add to that, if I may, of course I recognise that the major growth opportunity is in outer London. It's in those boroughs where there's new housing developments, where there's important transport links to be provided, for example, with Whittington Hospital or wherever it is, to ensure there's proper connectivity for people going about their day-to-day lives. And I think the bus consultation generally, and I have discussions with boroughs on a regular basis, has been well received by boroughs and other interested parties. Of course, the outcome of that consultation is not yet being revealed, but I would assure Assembly members, and through you if I may, that we have taken it very seriously, and I have no doubt there will be some adjustments to our initial proposals as a result of the huge appetite to respond to the consultation that we've seen. But it's not, increasing bus routes is not, as the Mayor implies, about just putting more buses on historic routes where there used to be a real imperative to do so. The dynamic has changed. People's use of buses, particularly in central London, has changed. The bus hopper, of course, makes a real contribution to how people use buses in London. The huge improvement in the tube and other transport networks around central London has also made a huge difference to how people travel around, as of course is the improvement in walking and cycling facilities provided in London. So the increases in the outer London bus network over a 5-year period, we have to be looking at carefully. We've got to look and see how much that costs. So some 40 million is the current plan as to what we would spend there. It is also worth, I think, just putting in context the fact that the subsidy that we pay for the bus network across London is of the order of over 700 million, which is the highest it's ever been. Now, it's quite right, because we have a social responsibility, of course, to ensure that every part of London is decently connected to the public transport network, and that is material in the Mayor's transport strategy as well. But it's equally important, and I'm sure Assembly members would agree, that we have to ensure that every pound we spend in subsidising the bus network is spent in the way that provides the most benefit to the most people and those communities who require bus services in particular. So that's what we seek to do. We'll continue to get input, I've no doubt, from yourself and from other Assembly members as we move this forward. But I'm very confident that the pathway we're on will make a material difference to both the operation of the bus network and to people who need it most.
One of the criticisms of Transport for London in the past has been it's often been very slow to react to changes in outer London about reconfiguration of hospitals, and as you've pointed out, lots of the growth areas are in outer London. Do you think you will have the capacity to actually react proactively and perhaps ahead of time rather than always being reactive in changes?
Well, I think that's a very fair question, and I think if I may, I sort of go back to my view of this consultation process. I think we have, quite understandably in the past, been criticised for not being on the front foot in terms of new developments as they emerge, of new opportunities for increasing ridership and ensuring that communities are properly served. I think this consultation is the first of a new approach to how we're doing this and how we're responding to local communities' concerns and interests being raised, but also just looking more strategically ahead to where those growth areas are. So in terms of the Mayor's work, often with us, in terms of delivering homes for London and new communities being served in London, of course it's the bus network that can provide that almost immediate response to those new growth areas by providing instant transport, whereas of course if you're planning a rail scheme, for example, somewhere like the extension to Barking Riverside of the overground network, that inevitably takes a little bit of time and there's a little bit of lag between new homes and new jobs being created and a permanent link that a rail line can sometimes provide as well.